This episode is brought to you by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Welcome aboard to Carefree Boating. Here, we don't worry about the what-ifs, because we explore with Progressive Boat Insurance for as little as $100 per year for a basic liability policy. Progressive also offers a variety of other coverages and can help you cover repair costs when you need it. And with discounts like multi-policy, safety courses, responsible driver, and more, your mind can really float free. Cruise on over to Progressive.com to get a quote today and see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Rate and discounts not available in all states or situations.
His spell has taken hold.
So, Tira, are you sure this will work?
No, but we've lost. This is the last possible chance this world may have. Okay, this is it. I love you both. Sorry it ends this way.
It is done.
To listen to more, search Echoes of Regoria wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Gas mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna cook a meal that's gonna make you mine. I'm turning up the oven, now we're ready to roast. When you touch me, honey, you'll love it the most. Come on and put me in a loving shoe.
Welcome to another BritFlix.com podcast. My name's Stuart Wright. And today's returning guests are John Adams and Toby Poser. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Stuart. We're super stoked.
Yep.
We love rocking with you. In fact, you were one of our first podcasts.
That's right.
Maybe you were the first podcast.
I think you were, and it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I like to believe I was. It's my apocryphal story, even if it's not.
It actually is the truth, because we were sitting outside of a lumberyard, and I remember the day, and we couldn't believe that we were invited to a podcast, an international podcast, nonetheless. Listen to that guy's accent.
This is a little bit of a spin on my normal format. We are going to talk about 3 horror films that have impacted everything in your adult life, and we're also going to have a quick chat about John and Toby's new film, Mother of Flies. Do you want to tell the audience what in the world Mother of Flies is about, please?
Yeah, sure. Mother of Flies is about a girl played by our daughter Zelda Adams who has a terminal illness and seeks the help of a witch in the woods. So she heads out deep into the woods with her father. And so this woman, the witch, says it'll take 3 days and she will get rid of her death. Of the death inside of her. But of course, there's always a cost, a price to pay when you're dealing with witch in the woods.
Fantastic. And I have to ask, because as a writer, it's always my favorite question. What was the kernel of the idea that led to the film we'll be able to see today?
Well, Toby and I both had cancer, so we both had the experience of cancer. And then Zelda tested for the proclivity to the same cancer that Toby has, which is tricky business. And we were all talking about it, and we just said, you know what? Fucking let's stop talking about it. Let's make a movie about it.
Really? And that's where so you're using the idea of a curse and stuff to be the illness.
You know, this movie is a metaphor for when you get something like cancer, and there's plenty of diseases like that. You fight like hell to survive. You do everything that you can. You shake your hands with the devil and you hope for the best. So every cure has a price. And that's what this film is about. But there's always hope. And if you lose, that's okay too. This is a celebration of life and death.
Yeah, it's a survival thing. You're not beating it, are you? Nobody beats it. It's surviving it.
You never beat it.
No.
Yep. And your innocence is taken from you.
It's also a story about the people. Because before I had cancer, I was very aware of John's history. So there's something to be said about the people who love the person who's threatened, with this deadly disease. And I'm always, and they're going through their journey as well. And that's always fascinated me. So this is really about a daughter, her father, and a woman who also has a very intimate relationship with death. The woman's a necromancer. So we really have fun kind of diving into the themes of death and life and how they're intrinsically, connected.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. You're right. It is. It is the sort of thing that when you find out somebody has got it and it's not you, you kind of want to help. But how do you help? What do you do? How do I? What do I do from the sidelines? Can I do anything from the sidelines?
Yeah, they're both lonely positions.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're here to tell the tale, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Now, you've already world premiered at Fantasia Festival, and you had a little bit of success there. What awards were you bandying about?
We were so lucky that we won the Cheval Noir at Fantasia, but mostly we were lucky because of the beautiful reception that we got there from the audience and the people that work for Fantasia and Mitch Davis. And in the world right now, when things are there's so much kind of negative space.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful that the horror community of all places is the most open-minded, the most loving, the most celebratory. It's a place where humanity is thriving.
Yeah. No, there's a funny thing where it says, and I think you can swap out the heavy metal bit for horror fans. It says heavy metal people are good people cosplaying as evil, and hippies are bad people cosplaying as good people.
I'm down. Yeah, I am down with you.
Well, look, thank you for sharing that, and congratulations on the success. And now, obviously, you're bringing it to Europe for Frightfest, and not your first rodeo at Frightfest, as much as it wasn't your first rodeo at Fantasia. So, what can you look forward to when you're returning like this?
Oh man, the thing about Frightfest is you just feel like you're in a hive of honey. It is so buzzy and busy. And you we've made some of our great friends, including you, through Frightfest. And so just the energy is kind of unbeatable. And the conversations you have in the pub afterwards are off the charts. I just really look forward to the energy and the friendship. I love that festival.
And there's a total, Toby, I got to back up Toby right now, is the friends we've made with you. It's not that we just talk with you on a podcast. We go out to fish and chips, or we do take walks together. We do whatever and there's that energy of Fright Fest is just saturated with Fright Fest. And my favorite thing about Fright Fest is there's also a complete punk rebellious attitude to it. And I just love the energy of Fright Fest, and Alan and Paul are badasses. So it's just really great. It's always just really great.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure everyone will welcome you with open arms. So let us move on to 3 horror films that impacted everything in your adult life. You've given me a list of 3. John, you can explain why one of yours is a horror film. I'll believe you.
Yes, I do too.
I'll believe you. I mean, I discussed the idea of being John Malkovich being a horror film earlier this week, so I'm all ears. I'm not prejudiced against what people believe is horror, but we will talk for 5 minutes per film. We'll take it in turns, so we'll start with Toby, and then we'll go to you, John, as we go. And every time we hear this sound, you can hear that at your end, okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Right then, Toby. Your first choice is a list of firsts. It was the German director's first American film. It was the first feature film to be released using Fox Movietone system, and Fox Studios' first ever feature film with a recorded score, and the first silent movie to be released on Blu-ray by Eureka Entertainment in 2009. So that's some history for a film made in 1927, even starting off on the bat. I am indeed talking about The Song of Two Humans, F.W. Murnau. Tell us, how does this have impact on you? What's the fond memories you associate with watching it?
Yeah, I think they originally called it Sunrise, and now they say Sunrise, The Song of Two Humans, which is a perfect title because it really does feel like a lyrical poem and a fairy tale. And I love this film so much. I'm a fan of German expressionism. This is black and white, like you said, 1927. Basically the synopsis is it's about a country husband and wife. They have a newborn baby. The husband's grown very bored of his life in the country, and he's seduced by the woman from the city who kind of hangs outside the house like a wolf, whistling at him. And finally he succumbs, and he goes and has this torrid affair with her, leaving his wife and baby at home. The wife's, bemoaning the days when they were in love. And the woman, the wicked woman from the city, encourages the husband to kill the wife by taking her out into a boat on the lake and throwing her over. And there are reeds for him to paddle back to the shore. So he takes the wife out into the lake and is going to go through with it, but she catches wind and is terrified. And he basically changes his mind. He follows her to the city, the big city, and they fall back in love. So it is the most wonderful city. I mean, it's the most wonderful movie with the incredible design. In the country, you have everything feels like a fairy tale. It's lush and kind of creamy and blurry, black and white. And then in the city, it's classic German expressionism where they look very small. And the perception is super slippery and warped. The sets are massive and they look very small, which represents what's going on emotionally in classic German expression, fashion. And it's just a beautiful story about dichotomies, goodness, wickedness, love and loneliness, the country, the city. And it's done. The acting is off the charts. Janet Gaynor, who plays the wife, she won the first Oscar for it, performing Oscar. The woman, it's sexy, they're like making out the woman from the city and the husband in the bushes. I just love this movie beyond. I watch it every year to remind myself of what a piece of masterpiece it is.
So how does a film from 1927 find you, or how do you find it? Where does it appear in your kind of film watching life?
You know what? I don't even remember how I was introduced to it. It was several years ago. It wasn't when I was a kid, but it made me feel like a kid when I was introduced to it. I have no idea. It was almost like it was dropped, from the depths of, art heaven into the palm of my hands or in my computer. I don't remember how I was introduced to it, but I fell in love with it and I tell everyone about it.
Yeah. So what is it about German expressionism, do you think, that sort of works well as a horror aesthetic?
It's funny. I feel like it has such an influence on horror movies, probably because it comes out of Germany and out of World War I, when there was such a feeling of despair and also probably a lot of poverty after World War I. So I'm guessing there was like a limitation in terms of sets. So probably people started painting sets, painting lighting on the sets, painting backgrounds, and there had to have been a really skewed perception just by nature of painting things on a wall, and shooting them. So I'm guessing that, and then when that came to America, like with people like Murnau, and of course in movies like Nosferatu probably had a great, effect on people. I'm guessing they came and just influenced horror movies because of the sheer starkness of a German expressionistic film. You have shadows. Shadows are such a big part of that. Think of Nosferatu. That was fun.
First 5 minutes. Well done. Well done. We're going to swap places. John, can you come to the microphone?
Microphone check. It's a microphone checker.
For your first choice, the film poster art was drawn by Jack Davis, one of the founding illustrators for Mad Magazine. The young star of this baseball movie trained with a professional sports trainer for several weeks before filming began in August 1975, so she could get her pitch, the perfect pitch, so to speak. And although some of the pitches were done by stunt doubles, the actor did the bulk of them on her own. And then throughout the film, I'd never spotted this, I don't know if you have, the coach is constantly drinking beer, yet he's seldom drinking the same brand. So he's seen drinking Budweiser, Miller High Life, Schiltz, Klingers, PBR, Lucky Lager, Mickey's Big Mouth, which I don't know. Do you know Mickey's Big Mouth?
Oh my God, you don't know a Mickey's Big Mouth?
No.
Oh yeah, that's a real low class one.
And then Cause. I am indeed talking about the Bad News Bears. So tell us, John, where does this fit in with horror films that have impacted your adult life?
Well, I'm gonna make this a stretch, but the reason it's a horror film,
Go.
is because it cinematically brings to life the horror of how we were raised in the 70s.
I like it. It's a thesis. Please carry on.
It was fucking beautiful, but horrific. There's drunk driving. There's actual physical abuse. There's sexual innuendos. It's just relentlessly horrific from a child's point of view. There's rampant bullying. There's the relentless possibility of death. They're driving around in a pickup truck. I mean, they're driving around in a broken convertible with a drunk driver going around to collect money at some point. All these kids with no seatbelts, no nothing. So that's where I'm going to say, that's going to be my argument for this is a horror movie. I would also say that you could never, ever, ever make Bad News Bears today. It's just, it's everything about it is a trigger. It's against all the rules, and it's hilarious. Now, what I think the reason it affects me in my life is because it's honest, and it actually is non-judgmental. And so it displays a life that most of us led in the 70s as kids that I look back on romantically. I also look back on it like, we all got the shit knocked out of us in various different ways. But I just love the honesty of it. And we try to instill that honesty in each of our movies, where we're breaking rules about how people communicate, why, about things like forgiveness. Our characters are always troubled. They never are even close to perfect. The only heroism of them is the fact that they, no matter who they are, they're trying to find love. And that's Bad News Bears is filled with that concept right there. They're all very troubled. Have you ever seen the movie?
Yeah. I mean, it's different for me because obviously it's layered with the fact that it's American as well. So there's a distance from it, even though we had our similar relationship with drunk driving. We had our similar relationship with no seatbelts and all that kind of stuff. That did exist, but obviously there's an exotica to it. So it's almost like as a kid to me, it seems aspirational because you're like, that's not like where I grew up. It didn't, and I'm looking at it through 70s and 80s eyes. I'm not looking at it through 2025 eyes, which you're right. If any of us were to just draw a character who is a drunk driver, they're immediately written off as a bad guy, aren't they? There's no way they could be a redemptive character without them being the central character of the movie, where it is their redemption that you're looking at.
It would be unforgivable. It would be nobody would put that out.
Yeah.
Nobody would be like, oh yeah, the hero of this show is going to be a drunk driving. He even slaps one of the kids in the face. So it's not only that he's drunk driving, the movie's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I when at school we still had corporal punishment at school, so you could be hit with a cane, hit with a plimsoll by a teacher for misbehaving. I remember getting smacked on the hand with a ruler for stepping out of line. If you did that now, you'd be up for assault. But it was perfectly normal. One of my chemistry teacher had a plimsoll. Oh, there's 5 minutes.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was quick. I was ready to tell some stories. Let's go.
My chemistry teacher had a plimsoll with a bloody swastika on the sole of it. Like, and that was his weapon of choice. You're like, this is if a teacher did that now at school, it'd be the end of that teacher's career, I think. But different times, as they say. So yeah, I think you've justified your horror film thesis there. I think it's safe to say. Right then, Toby, for your second choice, this is the first vampire story to be set in the Middle East. It was shot in 24 days in Taft, California, despite the film being set in Middle East. The director, a lifelong skateboarder, bears a resemblance to the girl character in your second choice and actually performed the skateboarding sequences for the long shots. At the beginning of the film, a character says he worked 2,191 days in order to earn the money to buy his car, including one leap year. That's exactly 6 years, apparently, according to the facts. I'm talking about 2014's A Girl Walks Home Alone. Tell me, Toby, where does this fit into your film watching life and what impact did it have on you?
Oh, man. This film I think about all the time because it's like a subgenre merry-go-round. You know, it's a black and white vampire, anti-heroine, spaghetti western, love story, feminist vengeance tale that happens to be told in Farsi. I mean, it is just fucking gorgeous. There's so many things going on. It's creepy, it's funny, it's romantic. It's in black and white, and it looks like a comic book or a graphic novel. I mean, going back to my interest in German expressionism, I love the look of this film. In Bad City, you know, you have like, trash yards and pumps going everywhere. It looks kind of like hell. And I love the character I love vampire stories. So, but this one is really original. The vampire wears this, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, chador, like the long kind of black robes and veils. And, but she's anything but a victim. I mean, you don't know anything about her history, which I love. You come to learn she's a vampire. She's such a predator. Sometimes you see a black cat crossing the screen in the film. She is a black cat. You don't want to cross her path at night. And she's like an alley rat, preying on bad men and supporting women as well. Like there's an arc in the story where she supports a prostitute. And this film is just another thing as a filmmaker, this film taught me is the power of pushing things to the point of tension, but not letting it burst. For instance, there's a scene I just adore in this film where Arash, the male protagonist, human, meets the vampire, the girl. They have this beautiful night together. She's tempted to bite his neck. She doesn't, but it's a really romantic scene. And the next morning, he's sitting having breakfast with his father, eating eggs. And the eggs are nice, the yolk is nice and round, and he's pushing it with a fork just gently. But he's kind of got a smile on his face because he's met this girl, but he doesn't burst it. And you're like, oh my God, of course he doesn't burst it because he's still floating. And then she cuts to Rockabilly, which is this fascinating transgender character in the film called Rockabilly, who's waltzing with a balloon. It's just the most brilliant segue. Speaking of Rockabilly, that character is super unusual because when you're thinking about an Iranian environment, that's got to be a very dangerous position, to be in as a transgender character. So I love the brazenness of this film, the choices she makes. The violence is great. Like the girl, she kills this drug dealer. But before she kills him, she bites off his finger, and he's already like made this prostitute give him a blowjob. So there's something very kind of a beautiful turnaround there, and she makes him and then she puts the finger in his mouth. It's just the coolest. It's also.
What do you think? What do you think the black and white lends it? Because obviously that's an important choice that the filmmakers made. What do you think it lends it that if it'd been in color, it wouldn't have had the same impact?
Oh yeah, for me, it really feels like a comic book, like a graphic novel. And it lends to the shadows. The shadows wouldn't feel the same. It's got that Nosferatu feel when she's, walking along the street at night and the shadows against the wall. And then she has the skateboard as well. And when she's flying down the street on the skateboard and her robes are flying behind her, she looks like a bat. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
I was going to ask another question, but I can see we're about to go. The 5 minutes are just about to go, so you timed that beautifully. passing the baton on to Mr. Adams. Right. Let me just get myself sorted. Right, John. The writer-director of your second choice rented out all the filming equipment used to make this movie, always on a Friday, so that he could use it all weekend and return it on a Monday, but only pay for one day's rental. The stone-looking interior of the mausoleum was actually constructed of plywood and marble-coloured paper. The flying ball scenes was a simple special effect. The sphere was thrown from behind the camera by a baseball pitcher, and then the shot was printed in reverse. The ball attaching itself to the caretaker's head was filmed by sticking it on his head, pulling it out, and then printing the shot in reverse, which just knowing that blows my mind now. It's such a neat, because it looks so effective on screen. I am indeed talking about Don Coscarelli's 1979 Phantasm. So tell me, John, where does this fit in your film watching life, and why does it have such impact?
First of all, it's an independent movie. Like, as you said, this guy is independent, like the true meaning of independent. And he made a movie that was a blockbuster. It was just incredible to all of us as kids. It blew our minds. It had a silver ball that drilled brains out. And I didn't even know that he made the mausoleum interior. It was genius. I think what most affects me still to this day, especially when we make films, is the idea of a rubber reality. The idea that what you think is real isn't real, and that there's forces that are beyond your control that have a big effect on your life, and that you may not know whether you're in a dream or in reality, or whether reality is a dream. That stuff is what's terrifying. And by placing the young boy as the main character who's wondering all these things, and his parents are dead, and he's living with his brother, and he doesn't know what his future's going to be like, and then there's this whole mystery of the tall man is like genius. And as a kid, it scared the hell out of me. Yeah. And I think it's funny, it wasn't the metal balls drilling brains out that was scary. It was the idea that another dimension is just a slither away.
Absolutely. No, I think there's almost like an arrogance of us as humans, isn't it? That we know everything. And there's dreams and there's reality. But what if dreams are reality? Then you're kind of you're on shaky ground, aren't you?
You're on real shaky ground. And he just nailed it. And I think because it was the first time that I'd ever even had to think through that kind of stuff, that it had a super impact on me. It had a super impact on me as a kid. Yeah. I didn't sleep at all for a long time. And, but as a filmmaker, I know that it still fascinates me, that idea and that whole concept. And I think, we're really, I want to do a movie that addresses that situation, I mean, as for me, it's, if you look at it kind of logically, it doesn't seem to make sense, but it all does. But it does all hang together. You don't feel cheated at any point, and certainly not when it ends. You don't feel like he's just done a curveball on you. You're like, oh, okay. It's in a way he has captured the notion. I think he's captured the notion of a dream, because dreams aren't perfectly logical, but you feel the agency and the momentum you've got when you're trapped in them. That's exactly right. And it's so well done. Cinematically, we went back and watched it just for kicks, because I was like, I got to go. I hadn't watched it since I was 12 years old. And I was like, I got to rewatch it because it had such a brutal effect on me. I should watch it. And I have to say, the cinematography and the acting to me was quite good. It was really, really, really good. Yeah. The acting. And then I read about it, and I didn't realize how independent it was. I didn't realize that those actors were his friends. So the whole thing was, and again, like Bad News Bears, it captures America really well.
In what way?
Well, he rides the mini bike. Everybody had a mini bike. Everybody had a little small town. It's like everybody had a creepy house, right on the outskirts of town. It was just really. It has hot rods. It has hot summer nights. It has real American men and women, that just really capture the 70s.
Well, there you go. That's it. Really capturing the 70s. Good man. I mean, I think in a way that's often the job of sort of independent film that lasts the test of time, is that it can't help but capture something, because you've only got the built environment to use. You're not dressing a set. You're filming the reality of what's around you. Weirdly, given the sense of where the Phantasm takes you.
That's a great point that you just said. More so than a big studio picture, independent film captures reality.
Yeah. Well, Toby, your final choice was favourite with many critics and journalists to win the Palme d'Or at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival. But as we know, 2019 was Parasite's year, and that won everything in the world ever. Netflix had wanted to buy the film before Neon succeeded in winning the distribution of it. The director and star are ex-lovers. They split amicably prior to filming, which is an interesting sidebar. I am talking about a film where the director was at a Q&A at the Cinepolis in Chelsea, at Cinepolis Chelsea in New York City, and told the audience she believes that the armpit is where the second clitoris is, which is news to me, and I'll be looking for it later. I am indeed talking about 2019's A Portrait of a Lady on Fire. So tell us, Toby, where does this fit in with your film watching life, and why does it have an impact while John looks for his clitoris in his armpit?
I love what he's saying to John. I love that part of him right under here. So I think there's some truth to that. But men have one too. Yeah. Lucky them. Obviously this is not a horror film. I mean, if it was about a woman who really was on fire, it might be, but this is metaphorical.
Yeah.
Some might say that how it was being a noble woman in the late 17th century with arranged marriages. That's pretty horrific. But what this movie has influenced me so much, because it feels like it's really about women. I mean, I'm sure everyone says it's about the female gaze. But for me, there are some scenes in this movie that are so raw and honest. I'm just going to jump right to, well, in a nutshell, it's about a woman, an artist who is sent to paint a portrait of a heretofore cloistered, noblewoman on a remote island off of Brittany.
Yeah.
And the mother's commissioned the artist to paint a portrait of her, but the woman refuses to sit. So the artist is secretly just going on long walks with her and then painting her by memory at night. So that in itself is gorgeous. You have these long, languorous walks they take, which are kind of like mental paint itself, as she's memorizing this woman, which is a luxury that the noblewoman doesn't have, because this portrait is for the man. If he likes the portrait, he'll marry her. So it's an arranged marriage. It was just horrific. And this woman walking with the artist has a luxury she doesn't have with a total stranger who she's going to be married off to and expected to have children with. And as they get to know each other, you really understand how women support each other and see each other. Back to the gaze. Like there's a scene where they talk about Orpheus and Eurydice and they ask, well, why does Orpheus turn around at the end? And Heloise, the noblewoman, says, well, Eurydice asks him to look at her. And for me, that's just a comment about women asking to be really seen.
Yeah.
And okay, so one of my favorite scenes in this movie, which has really influenced me about how, as a filmmaker, you want to do the classic show, don't tell.
Yeah.
There's a maid who the noblewoman and the artist take to get an abortion. And while the maid is waiting, Sophie is waiting to get the abortion, she's sitting on a bed next to a living baby.
Right.
And so for me, that says so much about a woman's body. This is a woman who wants to secretly make a choice to not be a mother, but she's sitting next to a baby that was born from a mother. And of course, we kind of think about that difficult choice, especially in a legal one, but also the complexities of the choices that women make with their bodies and with their lives. It's such a powerful scene. And you also see the maid with a bunch of women singing at a bonfire. That's super, and they're super free. And in that scene, Heloise, the noblewoman, her big, fancy robes catch on fire, which is such a beautiful metaphor, leading to the title, of course. But as her emotional walls are burning down, and she falls in love with this artist with whom she's having this very, brief affair, it's just so gorgeous. And I think it says a lot about art, because the artist never, you understand, you get the gist that she never finds a partner, whereas the noblewoman does go off and marry this, this stranger in Italy and have children.
Finish your thought.
Yeah, it's for me. It makes me wonder: well, is art the ultimate lover, the only lover that stays? It's the secret lover. It's also the lover people look at in galleries. I mean, for me, it's a big statement on art and freedom. And this woman has made such a masterpiece. Speaking of art, with this film.
Well, I guess you can't take what subjectively your heart is drawn to. You could remove it from existence, but if you've experienced it or seen it, it will still live in your heart, won't it? And the longer you're away, it's almost like absence will make the heart grow fonder, because if it had such an impact on you, I mean, being a bit trite about it, what John was saying about Phantasm, leaving it all those years between it didn't lessen it. Not seeing it over those years, it magnified its joy. Not that, there was, I mean, it sounds a mad comparison, but I think the way that we hold on to stuff, because obviously in that time, you've seen lots of things that have not had an impact. And equally, with Portrait of a Lady on Fire, you're trying to identify with the character as well as enjoy it as its own work of art at the same time. There's two jobs are going on at the same time, aren't there? You're taken away from it, but also it is just a beautiful film as well, which is not too shabby either, is it?
Yeah, and this podcast itself, you're asking people for the art that lingers.
Exactly.
The art of cinema, and I love that. I love to hear about what lingers in people's hearts and souls and eyes. Yeah,
because I mean, it's about subjectivity. No, there's no objective truth as to what we enjoy the most. You could tell me till I'm blue in the face, and I could tell you what's important to each other, but it wouldn't make it any more or less important to me. It might make me go and look something if I've never heard of it, but I cannot be your eyes and ears, can I? And you can't be mine. And that's the amazing thing about it. It's very subjective, and if you look at the world, because the world is logical, it tries to make everything objective, with like bloody Rotten Tomatoes and review, ratings and all that kind of stuff. Like, this must be the best because look, it's 8.9 out of 10. Like, well, it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? It's like, what mood am I in when I watch it? You could be in the wrong mood. That day you watch it, 3 years later you see it again, and it's the most wonderful thing you've ever seen in your life. And that's, art is tricky. It's not obvious, and it's not always for you, but then the following year it is. I don't know. Something like that. Right, John. For your final choice, Judy Garland found it difficult to be afraid of Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch, because she was such a nice lady off camera. And the iconic ruby slippers are now at the Smithsonian Institute's National Museum of American History and are so popular that the carpet in front of it has to be replaced on a regular basis because of wear and tear, which is just to think when they made that film, that's where something might end up. It's I am indeed talking about 1937's Wizard of Oz. Tell me, John, where does this fit in as a horror film, as a film that has impact in your life? I'll go with it's a horror film because despite the universal classification, scared the bejesus out of me when I was a kid when I saw it. So tell us.
Well, I think it could be the best horror film ever made because it's very wise that it was made for children who are easily scared, and we all watched it and got the crap scared out of us by this witch. Yeah. And also, for me, again, I think what's troubling and horrifying about The Wizard of Oz is that Dorothy is actually, again, just like Phantasm, doesn't know what reality is. She thinks she knows what reality is. But in fact, we find out later she's inventing reality. Like she's inventing all of her reality. She's stuck in her own cycles of of everything. She's stuck there, and that's terrifying. And I think it's really, really, really well shown in the film with characters like the Tin Man, the Lion, the Scarecrow. Each of them, in and of themselves, is a little terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, who would want to be a Tin Man? It'd be awful, But all the things that go on in that are just exceptional. And she's asking people for help, but ultimately nobody can help her. So it's the most lonely film ever made, too. It's just so lonely. She doesn't succeed until she helps herself, and it's a phenomenal horror movie. Beyond the fact that those monkeys are exceptionally well done. I mean, they would be great in a horror. You could make a horror movie just about one of those monkeys and it'd be great. It'd be iconic and it would be a franchise. And The Witch is the best witch ever done. And I have to say, there's something sad about the witch. Like her performance at the end when she's killed, to me, is a bit sad. I actually felt a little sorry for her. Yes, as a 5-year-old, I was glad she was getting fried by water that felt like acid, but she's exceptional.
It's also I've talked about it before with other guests, Wizard of Oz, and one person just described it as being the perfect story. It's like it's up there with Star Wars and Luke, the perfect hero's journey in the sense of, and the fact that we even use the idea that you're not in Kansas anymore is just an expression you could use to say, oh, I'm in a different place. It's like, it's amazing.
Yeah, so many things. I mean, it's click your heels, everything about it. And it is kind of terrifying in a way that, like, I remember as a kid being worried because this young girl who looks so innocent is looking for help, and a good witch says she's going to help, but in some ways really doesn't. It's really the bad witch that takes control of everything. And so it's kind of really a terrifying thought. So I just think that it's just so well done. I think it's a beautiful movie. It's kind of perfect.
And also the idea of a black and white world, and then when we go in our imagination, which is where we're living for most of it, it's all Technicolor. It's such a and it's such a great trick because it's not what you think is happening, and they hold on to that reveal for so long, and yet it doesn't feel cheated. Now I'm not sure. Is the moral message there's no place like home? Is that? I mean, you guys travel a lot. Is there no place like home?
Actually, I mean, I wouldn't be able to answer that question because for me, home is probably not being home. So, but I love home too. So that's a hard. What do you think? Is there no place like home?
I think home is more like the friendship and family that you make, which is also part of that film.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, that's a great point. I think that Toby's point is the way, because that is where home is. Like, it's like I feel at home with you. I feel at home with friends I've made, and I could meet them in Iceland, and I'm at home.
Yeah,
that's more important to me than my bed.
Indeed. Sadly, the alarm went off in a quiet mode for some reason. I don't know. So 5 minutes are up. But yes, I would agree with you. Home is not necessarily is where the heart is, but the heart can be anywhere in that sense, because like I would argue we're at home on this video call, and we're not even in the same vicinity. It's like that. That's the element of it, right, isn't it? Well, look, that brings us to the end of 3 horror films that have impacted everything in your adult life. You two have been very generous in talking about films that have had impact and hold memories for you. And thank you also for sharing a bit about Mother of Flies. I look forward to seeing it. And it just gives me to say thank you very much for giving us your time on the Britflix podcast.
Thanks, Stuart. We love you.
Yep, we sure do. Anytime. This is super fun.
You're very generous.
Hey there, Hugh from Poderation here. If you like today's show, why not have a listen to Board Gamers Anonymous, one of the longest running board game podcasts out there. Join Anthony and Chris every week as they discuss everything in the board game world, from card games to miniature games and more. They talk about some of their favourites and hopefully help you find your next ones. If you want to check the show out, you can find more information at poderation.com.